Good morning, Indy fans. It's Friday the 29th of January 2021 and it's time for Boris's Best of British Bulletin, episode 28, with me, DaviePHD. Now this is usually a humorous look at the week's news, but this week has seen the UK break a pretty grim statistic of over 100,000 COVID deaths. And I wasn't sure if having a laugh was even the right thing to do. But I also don't want the Tories' abject incompetence not to be exposed and discussed, so I decided to continue with today's bulletin in its usual form. I'm going to address the tragic 100,000 milestone in a serious manner on Monday Mythbusters. But for now, normal service resumes. In Scots Tory news, former Scots Tory branch office supervisor Jackson Coleslaw MSP tweeted this absolute pish about the coronavirus vaccine rollout in Scotland. The arsehole who knifed him in the... the current Scots Tory branch office supervisor, Dross MP, had these slick graphics done to reinforce the point. Just who do us uppity jocks think we are, with our devolved parliaments doing things differently? But there's just one problem with Coleslaw, Dross MP, and their slick graphics. Whilst they were numerically correct, the premise that ScotGov is going too slow is bollocks. Here we see the figures from the day in question, proportionally equal with England and light years ahead in second doses. Scotland's coronavirus vaccine rollout makes absolute sense according to a World Health Organisation Special Envoy on COVID-19. Dr. David Nabarro told the BBC's Good Morning Scotland programme that he is glad to see people in care homes who are among the most at risk from the virus being prioritised. In Scotland, I've noticed there have been concerns about high levels of sickness and unfortunately deaths in residential care facilities, he told listeners. It makes absolute sense to me to see the residential care sector as needing to be a priority for the residents and for the staff who work there as well. I'm glad that that's the prioritisation that's being done, and I hope we continue to focus on the people who we know will be most at risk. So, Coleslaw and Dross, just like that business support money you keep bitching about and have no say in how we spend, we've got a devolved programme for vaccines too, and it's working. So, thanks for your input. You'll have to forgive us for not listening to and acting on the advice of yourselves because we choose to listen to actual health experts. So, ta very much, but jog on now. Off you go, chaps. In UK unionist news, having just announced that over 100,000 people throughout the UK have now died due to COVID-19, Boris Johnson displayed the sensitivity and emotional awareness only a man who chooses to leave his wife while she's recovering from cancer for a woman half his age could display. By coming to Scotland to tell us all how fucking amazing the UK is, whilst 100,000 families grieve. With his attack dogs, Coleslaw and Dross MP failing to get a single bite or even a nasty sook at the SNP, Boris Johnson decided to break out the big guns and come to Scotland himself. Yes, despite cross-border travel being illegal unless for essential work, Boris typically decided not to heed his own stay home, protect the NHS and save lives mantra. Ronald Reagan famously said that the scariest words in the English language were, "I'm from the government and I'm here to help you." For those unionists actually trying to save the union, the Prime Minister making a day trip to Scotland must be just as scary. When the Prime Minister came to Scotland last summer, he posed for the cameras with Orkney crab and promised good times ahead. I see he steered clear of going there today, as he'd have had to apologise for breaking his promises and wrecking their access to vital European markets. Police Scotland apparently received 3,000 complaints per hour about the Prime Minister's visit, but sadly I don't expect any swift and decisive action. Now, being for Peter Heed, my vlog has been a bit focused on the effects of Boris's broken Brexit promises to the Scots fishing industry. But what about some other businesses? Well, let's look at Cheshire Cheese. They lost over £250,000 in sales as a consumer £30 sale to the European Union now needs a £180 health certificate. So Cheshire Cheese is a pretty successful company with a turnover of £4.3 million and about 40 staff. They were looking to invest £2 million in an expansion programme, but are now looking to spend that £2 million in France instead. Yep, they're going to open a branch in the EU, employ French people and pay taxes in France. Now, you might think that hemorrhaging jobs, investment and tax income to the European Union would be a bad thing. And you'd be right, because it is. But UK firms, including Cheshire Cheese, that export to the European Union, say they are being encouraged by the government to set up subsidiaries and hubs in the European Union to avoid disruption under new trade rules. Yes, you did hear that correctly, folks. Firms are being advised by the UK government who pursued Brexit that due to Brexit they should Brexit any investment by exiting Britain with it and giving jobs, investment and tax incomes to the European Union post-Brexit. And it's not just cheese and fish that's having trouble getting to the continent. Businessman Tony Hale has 5 containers of pork sitting at Rotterdam port that is now rotten. We've not been able to move it on, says the boss of London-based DH Foods, so it's going to have to be destroyed. His containers were caught up in the delivery delays now being experienced by new Brexit paperwork in the European Union. Across the UK, exporters have been reporting hold-ups due to new trade deal rules. And there are signs, according to meat exporters, that customers are starting to go elsewhere for their supplies, including Romania and New Zealand. Coca-Cola have left the UK. Don't worry, Coke fans, you'll still be able to drink it and buy it, but their European corporate HQ has moved from the UK to the Netherlands, taking with them over 1,000 UK jobs. Berkeley, who you may not have heard of but are a giant in mining precious metals, uranium and other materials, have also left the UK and are relocating their corporate HQ to Spain, again taking with them over 1,000 UK jobs. But there is some relative success to report. Business Secretary Kwasi Kwarteng reports that Nissan have not left the country and says it's a big win for the UK. Yes, you heard that correctly. The Tories are looking so hard for Brexit success stories that a company not leaving the country is considered cause for celebration. So with that in mind, Kwasi Kwarteng will be delighted to hear about a big win for my love life in that my wife has not decided to leave me. Home Secretary Priti Patel has had a great week. She's actually incentivised catching COVID-19. The Home Secretary announced a new £800 fine for those attending house parties of 15 people and over. But you only pay £400 if you pay it within 14 days. Of course, the message COVIDiots will take from that is that it's fine to have a house party with 14 people. Also, if you consider that you only pay £400 if you pay within 14 days and you get a £500 stay-home payment for getting COVID, she has, quite possibly, incentivised catching COVID-19. Well folks, that's it for this week. This painfully normal but still painfully crap week in Tory Britain. DaviePHD.